Thank you for joining me at Technician Toolbox. My name is Jim Deanna and I will be your host to diagnose the Chrysler LDP EVAP system. Today's method will be to do a leak test without smoke equipment to diagnose a P0456, which is a very small leak code. First, let us prepare our testing by collecting the appropriate tech data and TSBs related to this code. Next, we set up our test equipment, which consists of a scope and a scan tool. The scope will be connected to the LDP solenoid circuit on channel A and the LDP switch circuit on channel B. Using the scan tool, we can now run the LDP Bay Test. This requires the engine to idle as vacuum is necessary to run the LDP pump. The test begins when the PCM duty cycles the LDP solenoid to apply vacuum to the internal diaphragm to raise the diaphragm, and then release the solenoid to allow the spring pressure to force the air towards the canister and tank. This will be displayed as a 12-volt square wave on channel A of the scope. This is a ground controlled signal, so the command is the negative slope of the waveform. This duty cycle has a different frequency with 3 stages as to initially determine a large, medium, or small leak, and may be repeated as many as 3 times. A diaphragm that has vacuum applied and is pulled to the pump position or the upstroke will be shown as a 0-volt signal, and a diaphragm that has no vacuum applied and it is at the rest position or the downstroke will be shown as a 12-volt signal. Monitoring this on channel B of the scope and stacking the 2 waveforms, we can see the relationship between the 2 signals. When the solenoid is grounded at 0 volts, there should also be 0 volts at the LDP switch, indicating the diaphragm is pulled up. When there are no leaks, the diaphragm will be suspended due to the air pressure created by its movement, and the waveform on channel B will stay steady at 0 volts during the LDP solenoid rest time, which is pump period. A change in the signal during the solenoid rest time or during the pump period indicates movement of the diaphragm and a leak to be present. The PCM verifies movement of this diaphragm by monitoring the LDP switch circuit transitions. If a leak is determined to be present, run the LDP Bay Test after performing each of these steps. Step 1, clamp the vent side of the LDP, and this is to determine a leaking mechanical vent valve. Step 2, clamp the pressure side of the LDP. This determines a leaking LDP diaphragm. If the leak stops, a leak towards the canister and tank is still present. Step 3, clamp the hose between the canister and tank. This determines a leaking canister or tank. If the leak stops, then the problem is at the canister. At this point, a check of the purge solenoid is necessary by clamping the hose between the solenoid and the canister. This determines if the leak is truly the canister or solenoid. I hope this demonstration has given you alternative tools and methods to further build your skills as a technician. Thanks for spending time with me. I hope you join me again at Technician's Toolbox.